solving quadratic equations. Remember that in order to solve quadratic, in almost every case, what we're going to try to do is put it in a standard form equals 0. That's the starting point. If it's not everything on one side, 0 on the other, put it that way, right? And by standard form, we mean make it the squared term, then the linear term, then the constant term, because we're going to end up using those three values in that order. So we need to have them in the right order. And then, so this, always make sure you've got standard form equals 0, and then you have options for how you solve something like that, right? The quadratic formula, though, is the one that always works, and it's given to you on the formula sheet. So you definitely want to remember that one, right? The quadratic formula always works. Now, if I was going to solve this one, right, what would I have to do first? Subtract the 3, because it's not set equal to 0, I subtract the 3. So that's 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals 0. So now you could use the quadratic formula and solve it. If they say on a test like this, if it says solve by factoring, I mean, there's really no check on how you're solving it. It's a multiple choice test. Just solve it. Right? If you can't factor it, then solve it by the quadratic formula. Don't be hung up by their directions of saying solve by factoring. Solve it. You know, we've got other ways to solve other than factoring, which is usually not our strong point, especially when we get the harder one like this. I mean, this is the thing we already factored a few slides ago. Okay, so remember that standard form equals 0, use the quadratic formula. I mean, you could even remember, you can use the calculator to do the quadratic formula. I mean, I think I might have shown you that along the way. You could store the values of A, B, and C, and then just use the alpha keys to type in the quadratic formula. Just make sure that if you do, then when you type in the formula, you know, it'll look like negative B plus, and then you'll have your square root, and it'll be B squared minus 4AC. You'll have to arrow out of that so that then you can end that, and then make sure you put the 2A in parentheses. I mean, it's always about the parentheses. And then you would have to do it twice because one of them will give you the plus, one of them will give you the minus.